Wynter Tai chats Tit Ngau Pai with Sifu Kong Han Lei. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and before we start, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell icon. So for today's chat, we get to speak with the teacher of Tit Ngau Pai. He's been practicing the martial arts for over 6 decades and teaching for 4. Passing on the legacy of his predecessors while forging a distinctive path of his own has been his life's objective. He is the chairman of the Belgian Wushu Federation, as well as chairman of the Han Lei Martial Arts Association. He is the heir and lineage head of Tit Ngau Pai and Lee Gar.
Please welcome Sifu Kong Han Lei. How are you doing today, Sifu?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm doing fine.
Hey, thank you very much for accommodating this interview, because I know we had to go through some hoops, to say the least, to get this interview done. So thank you very much for.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I appreciate your patience with me, sir. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the interview. Kong Han Lei, how did you start the martial arts?
Well, actually, I started at the age of 16 years old, because before that, in my youth, I was actually a very weak child, easily sick and skinny, no energy. So in school, I was bullied, mentally, physically. So I wanted to escape from that, but I didn't know how. So in 1971, the first movie of Lei Xiaolong, Bruce Lee, came out. So this inspired me, like a lot of people from my generation. And then I went to look for a Chinese martial arts school. So it started actually from there.
All right. So from that little bit of inkling from Bruce Lee, and you went and went into search for a Chinese martial arts school. What did you find? What did you start with?
Well, actually, I grew up in a neighborhood that would develop later into the present Chinatown in Antwerp. So for me, it was quite easy to have contact with Chinese people. Only issue, Chinese people were not eager to teach Westerner. So through a friend of the existing Sifu at that time, he introduced me to the Chinatown Kung Fu school. And then the master, he accepted me for learning. But unfortunately, after a few years, he went back to China. And in those days, being a youngster, we didn't have the money to follow him to China. So I went to look for another Kung Fu school. And then I was exposed to several Kung Fu schools, actually. And the one who impressed me the most was the Tit Ngau Pai. In such a way, I decided to sacrifice my life to it, in meaning, make it my lifestyle.
Okay. You had said you'd started your martial arts journey at 16.
Yes.
So how long from, say, when you started with that first Kung Fu school, did it take to when you started Tit Ngau Pai? How long of a time difference was that? Like a year or 2 years?
No, much more. I think it would take me quite a long time. Let me see, like, well, I think I started the Tit Ngau in 1990, something like, yeah, 1990 I started. 1990 until 1999, end of 1999. Yeah.
Okay, so really it's the Tit Ngau Pai ever since 1990.
Yes, exactly. Before that, I studied one art. It's a Cantonese. It's an art from the province of Guangdong, from the Lai family, Lee Gar from Punte Chinese. So I learned this art, and I was teaching that when I met some people from the Tit Ngau.
Okay, so you're doing Lee Gar before that. Oh, okay, awesome, awesome. So, if you don't mind me asking,
Yes, yes.
because you are the best person for me to ask this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is Tit Ngau Pai?
Yeah. Let's say in general, to introduce this art in a nutshell, I can give a fair idea what it is. It belongs to a group ethnical group of Chinese we call Hakka, guest family. So it's a Hakka Kung Fu style. It started in the Guangdong province around 220 years ago, and it started with the Lee family. So the characteristics from this art is actually jamming step, short power, how to say this, no elaborate movements, actually designed to combat, no fancy things. So simple and combat orientated. Yeah.
Okay. So it is a Hakka style, very oriented towards combat. All right.
Yes.
So, I'm quite sure you kind of suspected that this question would come up. I'm very familiar with Hakka Kyun, with Hakka systems, as I'm a practitioner of Pakme Kyun. And,
okay.
And I've interviewed various teachers of Tong Lang. Right?
Oh, okay. Lam Tong Long.
When actually it was a teacher of Tong Lang who introduced me to you, who recommended me to interview you, and that was Sifu Yasser Bilgrami over in Dubai.
Okay.
Now, when he had referred me to you, he had just literally said Tit Ngau. He didn't explain to me that it was what Tit Ngau, and the reason being, from he said that, my thought immediately was Tit Ngau Tong Lang.
Oh, yeah.
So now my question to you would be, what is the difference between Tit Ngau Tong Lang and your Tit Ngau Pai?
Oh, if very difficult for me to say something about another moon or school, but what I do understand is history-wise, our Kung Fu started with our founder. His nickname is Lei Tit Ngau, Lee the Iron Buffalo. And one from Tit Ngau Tong Long, I think, if I remember well, is like a Chow Sifu from the Chow family. I'm not sure, but I think it's like this. And both received this nickname to represent the strength they have in their Kung Fu. But it's not their real name. So in the Lam Tong Long, in the Southern Tong Long, they give this name when this Chow Sifu, he passed away, the student give him this name to represent, to honor his Sifu. And actually in our Kung Fu, it's about a happening which happened on a marketplace where our founder, suppressed buffalo who endangered mother with her child on a marketplace. So people discovered he has a lot of strength, and then actually his Kung Fu became famous. That's the story, okay? But we can surely say that it was the Lee family who practiced their martial art. And the martial art was practiced in the Five Flower region in Guangdong. And I think that the Lam Tong Long is actually also from this region, but different birthplace, not the same. So our history is different for sure. But we have this more or less the same characteristics. I think most of the Hakka Kung Fu style up to a certain height, they have similar techniques and similar way of producing force. I think so.
Yes, definitely, definitely. You know, I take that last part that you said to heart because I find it so true. That's why I can look at Southern Praying Mantis and find kinship with it because I look at it and I see, man, and I'm sure for you, you see other Hakka and find kinship in that too because there's so much in common, right? So that's very true. That's very true. And you know, speaking of commonality, that there must be there has to be that commonality, of course, as you say, with the two different founders getting the same nickname, right? Iron Ox, Iron Buffalo, right? The strength that they had. You know, that's cool, but that also shows the commonality amongst the Hakka ethnicity and the Hakka mind itself, right? Okay, so that's awesome. So if you don't mind me asking, that's Tit Ngau Pai. What is Lee Gar?
Okay. Well, actually, I learned the Tit Ngau art at first, and I learned from my Sifu Zhong Gang Yao. Actually, we have 3 generations of Zhong family after the founder, and they all Hakka. And there's a small story with this. When my grandmaster, he came to Hong Kong in the 1940s, he brought the art of Tit Ngau to Hong Kong. But he told my Sifu, when he taught him, that in his Kung Fu, there's several unarmed forms and armed forms. But because they were family, he decided to teach the core of the art. And actually, in our Kung Fu style, we have actually 2. We say Ngo Zheng or goose palm is for the unarmed techniques, and Sampun, 3 winding for the staff. So he taught in his way the essence of his Kung Fu. And it's about this detail, this story, what made me think what would be the rest of it. So my grandmaster, he found his way to teach an effective art to my Sifu. But historical wise, I was thinking, what could be the rest? So in my free time, I went to look for Lee Gar to find out what could be the missing curriculum of our Kung Fu, traditional wise. But it wasn't an easy task because Lee Gar was not easy to find. So I had the help of some Chinese friends in Hong Kong. And after a real thorough search, they find somebody who taught with a low profile and who was prepared to meet me in Hong Kong. And we became friends. And eventually I began to learn from him. And then I found out, history-wise, that our Tit Ngau started just a little bit before Lee Gar. The reason is because my great-grandmaster, when he went to China, actually, he did another kind of Kung Fu. He was not satisfied about his art. So he undertook the travel to the area where our founder lived and who had a reputation for having strong Kung Fu. So he stayed there for 4 years and a half. He returned and he named the art Tit Ngau Pai to honor the founder. He learned at the time when the Kung Fu of the Lee family wasn't promoted intentionally. It was just a village art. And who did what? Some people did everything, some people did. It was like a spare time occupation. People just do it. There's no real structure. So Lee Gar is different story. A little bit later in time is the grandson of my founder who emigrated more south to the area of Santo. Santo actually completely nearby the coast. And we say the Chinese people there is Jiao Chinese. So over there, he started teaching his art, but the art actually had no name. And the people who were coming to learn from him, okay, they refer to, oh, it's somebody from Lee family. So, okay, this is Lee family teaching. And that's how it got the name in Santo. So we can see it just, our art Tit Ngau just preceded Lee Gar. And that's actually the difference. But the content is really the same. The core of the two arts, they are exactly the same. Yeah.
That would have been my next question. You beat me to it, Kung Fu.
Oh, sorry.
No problem, but it definitely shows that you knew where my mind was going, because I was just about to ask, like, is Lee Gar and Tit Ngau Pai really the same thing, right? It's just that by when the founder's grandson, when he was dealing with it, there wasn't a name for it, so other people
Exactly.
called it Lee Gar.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
exactly.
Awesome.
So you can say it's a different line of descendants, a different family tree, but okay, they're ending up with a founder, which should be the same art. And as we know, over time, each generation, okay, they change maybe a little bit for the best of it, but the core of the art I found out is exactly the same.
Awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. So it's just one preceded the other. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So, how effective are they for self-defense, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, okay, let's first, in theory, I think it's generally known that Hakka fighting arts, they have a good reputation in practicality, right? And I agree 100%. By my own experience, I also had a few times had to use. And sometimes my students, they also ask me about these things. Sifu, did you fight? Sifu, did you that? I don't like to promote this because actually fighting is not fun at all. But the art never left me, this I can say. So I think in learning, studying, and also in doing to apply, I'm satisfied. So I think the art is a practical art, really. I think most of the traditional Chinese martial art, they are. It also depends. You have a good Sifu, he teach you properly, you learn properly, okay. And then I think the answer is yes, of course, it's practical. It's effective.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good answer, Sifu. Very good, Sifu. Okay, so I'm going to take you on to the next question, and it's a bit of a, you have to think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In your honest opinion, what is the hardest part of developing Kung Fu?
I think you mean in teaching or for myself?
For yourself, or however you'd like to answer that. Well, that's a very good question. For yourself, sure. Let's start with that.
For myself, I don't think I met any difficulty. I only enjoyed the journey. So, but maybe if I can say one thing, when I was younger, I always had difficulty to find a good partner in life, because they all object. They found me some like a little bit funny person, because I was attracted to Chinese martial arts. So of course I built up many relationships with Chinese people, and most of the so-called life partner I met, they couldn't cope with this. So this was my most difficult thing: find somebody to live with who can accept all of this, because I had to train a lot, and then later I also teach a lot. So, okay, I always reserve one day on a Sunday for the family, but all the rest I use for training, I use for teaching. So I think this is the only difficulty. And all the rest is like a big gift in life. It really enriched my life. Chinese culture, very profound, very interesting.
I really understand. I really do understand that answer, Kong Sifu. It's very true. Chinese martial arts, it can fill so much of your life. If you, it can teach you so much. It can fill many different gaps in your life. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have someone to share all of that with, you
Yep.
know, it
Yep.
becomes more of a chore to do things than any type of enjoyment, really. So I do fully understand that, and that is a great answer. Because if you can't find that person to share all of that with, then how happy can you really be, Kong Sifu?
Yeah. Really true. Really true.
That is a very good answer. That is a very good answer. And trust me, I understand that can be difficult. It definitely can. Right? And, so we'll move on from that one. That's a great answer, Sifu. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about life impact now, right? Through all of your years, I'm very interested to hear the answer for this question, right? How has your martial training influenced your life?
Oh, actually, a lot. Sometimes you hear when you're young, of course, many things you hear. It's like a kind of magical words explanation. But on the way and by maturing, you find out the real meaning of it. So how did it? Oh, I will tell you an anecdote. Before when I went to my Sifu for class for lesson, private lesson, and then we leave the building, it's home, and we always do the same thing. Afterwards, we have a group lesson, and I assisted him in teaching. And then one day we come out, and then he break the routine into something I didn't expect. 2 houses on the way, further on the way, he stopped. He was smaller than myself, not as tall. He go 2 steps up from a house, and then he turned towards me. He said like this. He said, Han Lei, can I ask you a question? I say, Sifu, of course. He said, in the future, do you want to teach? I was young. So which kind of answer you give? I say, yes, Sifu, of course, I will teach. He said, good. He said. Then he said, I can bring you there. Say, but 2 rules you have to accept. I say, okay, Sifu. He said, rule number 1. I say and you do. Say, do you agree? Being young, I didn't know what it means. I said, yeah, okay, Sifu, no problem. He said, good. He said, second rule, say, you must learn about Chinese culture. Say, when you don't learn about Chinese culture, your Kung Fu only half. Say, I wish you the best. So you must study Chinese culture. He said, anything about books, classics, even cooking, you have to learn. Say, because a good man, he can cook. If you cannot cook, you don't eat, you don't have strength, this kind of thing. And I said, yes, of course. And I did. I took it in my heart. And this part influenced my life because Chinese culture is so rich. In one lifetime, you cannot learn enough, honestly. So only can focus on a few things. Our martial art and something in connection, like philosophy, like cooking, all these things. But the main stay the martial art. So I think it's in the head, in the heart, in the fist. I think you wake up with it and you go to sleep with it. Just like that.
Right. It makes sense. It makes sense. So when your Sifu literally said to you, look, you have to understand the martial art, you have to understand culture. I do like it. And I like what you literally just said. Something. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. It could be just something. It could be the art. It could be literature. It could be music. Just something that you can understand the culture. So then you can understand the martial art and the mind that created the martial art. That makes absolute sense. That makes absolute sense. And that is the answer to the question, Kong Sifu. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I want to add one thing, if you don't mind.
Of course.
You probably also know there's a book called Chinese book called Dongxing. Dongxing is a book every year comes out. And they give a foresight. They give everything about the coming year, lucky days, lucky hours, the opposite. But this book is filled with knowledge for over centuries. Many things inside: how to behave, how not to behave, what to think, what to do, what to eat, how to dress. It's interesting because it's a collection of Chinese culture over the centuries. And I have this book and like to read it also. And then my Sifu always taught me like this. He said, Akong, when you read the book, okay, you only use 50%, all right? Don't do the 100% because otherwise the book will leave you. Say you must live with the book, not the opposite. So I think our art must be adapted and flexible to fit in current times, modern times. So this is also my idea now.
And that is a very good idea to have, Sifu. It is true. We must have adaptability, right? How can I say this? Life is change, right? So
Yep.
If we can't adapt to change, we cannot adapt to life.
Exactly.
That's the way I see it. I mean, that's very true.
Exactly.
I agree with you 100%, Kong Sifu. Very good. Very good. So we're going to move on. You know, like I'm really enjoying your questions because your answers, because the way how you answer them, it makes me think. And once you make me think, now you've got me. Now you've got me. Thank you very much, Kong Sifu. So let's go ahead. And I hope this question makes you think. Right? If you could teach the new generation of martial artists only one thing, it could be technique, it could be philosophy, it could even be a combination of the two, what would it be?
I think that I can say it in a sentence, not one word, right?
Sure, of course.
Okay. I think that the result of the training should be happiness. I think that.
I like that. I like that. The result of your training must be happiness.
Or must be.
I like it. I like it. You have to be happy in order to continue doing what you are doing, correct?
Yes.
Good, very good. Because if you're not happy doing it, you're just not enjoying it. And if there's no enjoyment, there's no point.
Yeah. You know, in when students they come to learn, we always ask them, what is the reason you come to learn? Because many people different interest. So in the beginning, we can meet them in teaching a little bit to what they like to learn. But of course, we direct the lesson. But eventually, we all have to learn the same thing. And I hope the result for each of them of the training will result in some happy feeling. People like to have some happy feeling and not only about fighting. And you know, fighting is very easy with or without Chinese martial art. I think not fighting is more difficult. So my Sifu always taught me like that. He gave me many examples from his life where he escaped the fighting by reasoning with people. When you have to, you have to. But many, many times, there's really no need to fight.
That's very true. That's very true, Sifu. Restraint, just to echo what he said, restraint is much harder of a task than giving in to an impulse. Right?
Yes.
I know there's some people who would say it's the other way around, but
yeah.
When you really want to say, you get heated in the moment and you really want to act out and you're really going to punch somebody in the face, actually keeping your temper and your actions at bay is really much harder. So, if one can restrain from their actions, really, they're a lot stronger than anybody really thinks. That self-control is incredible.
Yes. Yeah, we call you speak Cantonese or no?
A little bit, just words.
Okay, doesn't matter. So we use the word yan. Yan means control. So control is quite important. And then we always teach this by an expression. We say the mind like a calm sea, but the body like an aggressive tiger. So when we can reach the combination, perfect combination of this, I think you can face an aggression with the right weapon, your mind and your body. And then you really have to think in a reasonable way, is it worth to fight? So then we come back to the very basic. And you hear this already, we hear this like, I suppose you also, everybody like 10,000, 100,000 times, only fighting for self-defense means when it's necessary. And we live in different times now. Sometimes you hear the people to discuss about my art better than this one. Another one, oh no, my art better than that one. Actually, I was taught in different way. So before they taught me, when you climb a mountain that high, there's always someone can climb a mountain higher than you, which means somebody have more capability than you. So I carry this long time in my head. And one day my Sifu, he asked me, say, Hong, he has the British accent, say, I ask ya, I say, what is best Kung Fu? So I think by myself, well, that's an easy answer. So I give him the answer. I say, well, Sifu, it doesn't exist, right? You see the mountain here, the mountain there. He said, no. I said, what, Sifu? And then he said, best one exists. I said, really, Sifu? He said, yes. So really made me say, I don't know, Sifu, what you mean. And then he do like this. Boom. So what are we learning for? Well, I think it's in a broader sense. Of course, sometime in self-defense situation, we will use and can use. So you can protect yourself, your family, whatever. Huh? But if we see it on the longer term history, well, martial arts, where are they now? The recreational field. And there, if we respect the ancestor, we can learn all about their knowledge, their efforts, and then enjoy this when we do it. But if we're talking about the most practical, well, this one, boom, is the reality. So let's stop all the stupid discussion about who's the best. It's my idea. I think in the martial forest, in Cantonese they say Mo Lam. They say Mo Lam Yat Ka, which means the martial forest, one family. So let's join up and learn from each other and enjoy our trip and remember the ancestor to honor them. That's how I was taught and how I live.
I agree with you 100%, Sifu. I like that answer as well. And it's like everybody stop fighting about who's better because the best kung fu is, a firearm. There's nothing you can do that can beat that. So you know what? Just enjoy. Let's just coexist and enjoy ourselves.
Yep. Exactly.
I like it. That's the best thing. So, right, what would you teach them? Enjoy what you're doing.
Yep.
I like it. I'm with it 100%. So,
okay, thank you.
Kong Sifu, I got the last question for you. How can you be contacted?
Well, actually, I can be found on Facebook under the same name, Kong Sifu, K-O-N-G Sifu. I also have a YouTube channel under the same name. So people can contact me there. And I must still say something about the name, because when you see this face, it's not a Chinese face. So, but I do operate under that name for two reasons. Mostly in the Chinese community in Belgium and a little bit over the border, Chinese people know me or call me under that name. So as a reference to find me back, I think it's okay. And secondly, a long time ago, my Sifu, he gave me this name. So ever since, I wear this in a proud way. And for every Chinese affair, okay, I use that name, that's all. So I just want to make it clear, if you go on Facebook, for the people who like, you can find my Western name too.
No problem, no problem. But of course, when I contacted you and I asked you about the whole thing, I completely understand. When it comes to Chinese martial arts and Chinese affairs, you have a Chinese name, and you will use your Chinese name for those, right? When you're dealing with Western affairs and stuff like that, you will use your Western name. That's no problem. That's absolutely.
That's it.
To be completely honest, you're not the first Westerner with a Chinese name that I have met, and so it's very common to me, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I won't call him a very good friend, but he's a very good acquaintance. Every time I've spoken to him, like a couple of times, it's been like we've been friends. It's Sifu Kong Han from England.
Oh yeah, England.
Right, so he's another Westerner with a Chinese name, so it's cool, So if your teacher gives you that name, hey, wear it, use it, proudly. I don't see why not.
Of course,
exactly.
I don't know him personally, but we are in contact through Facebook, and he's a capable guy. I can see. So I hope one day to meet him, and it's in our mind to invite him to come to our yearly Chinese New Year party, and then make some friendship in between the association.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. So, Sifu Kong Han, if you're watching this, you're invited.
Okay.
Very good, very good, very good. But hey, check it out. Contact information for Kong Han Lei Sifu will be in the description down below. Also in the description down below will be a link for Feiyue shoes. If you need Feiyue shoes, go ahead and click the link down below. Get the best prices, the best deals, all at feiyueshoes.com. Kong Sifu, thank you very much for the time that you've taken.
You're welcome.
Educate me about Tit Ngau Pai, about Lee Gar. Thank you very much. It's been fun. It's been real to hear about your martial history. So thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Hear you soon.